Kev, let's talk about Nkunku. Clearly, we saw on Monday evening the fact that he didn't come off the bench when Cole Palmer come off. Felix was given that role. They all want to try and get in front of Palmer as a number 10, if you like. It does feel as though for his career, he needs to think about moving away from Stamford Bridge. What's the latest on that? And fee, loan, and where do you see him potentially ending up?
Look, it's really difficult for him. He wants to play. He needs to play because he wants to be part of that France squad for the World Cup. And that will come up quick. So it wouldn't surprise me if he wants to go in this window. The Bayern thing really interests me. So the first thing is their interest in him is long held. They wanted to sign him when he was at Leipzig, but they couldn't make that happen. They respect him a lot. And for me, he's somebody that long-term would be the new Thomas Müller. Now, whether that's this window, I don't know, because Müller is still there. Is he a player they need for right now? So, you know, would they be... They've got the money to probably do that deal in this window, but whether they've got the willingness to do it, we'll see. It could be maybe a loan they would explore with a view to a permanent in the summer.
I wanted to ask you about Mamadou Sar as well. He's just signed from Strasbourg for 12 million with a view to obviously coming in the summer. Do you see this as a genuine move from Chelsea as in terms of maybe asset management and moving pieces between the two, you know, multi-club model, you know, system kind of two clubs, and maybe looking for profit down the line? Or do you actually see this as a player as Chelsea are looking to impact the first team next season and really actually help this defence?
Yeah, I mean, it could be an accounting wheeze. You never know, do you really? But I think he is somebody who's been seen as a rising star of French football for a while. I think there's an excitement about him. When he was at Lyon, he was seen as somebody who could really develop into a top league defender. He's been playing games for Strasbourg and they've done fine this season. So it's very early days. But what I can tell you is he's somebody who's seen as somebody who's got the athleticism, reads the game very well. He's decent on the ball as well. So long term, I could see him as somebody as part of that Chelsea squad. So I don't think it's just a numbers thing. I probably do think they see him as somebody who could be part of that Chelsea squad long term. But he's got such a short track record at senior level.
Kev, thank you so much.
Cheers, Kev.
Pleasure.
You're a legend. Thanks for coming on. Great to speak to you. Now, obviously, the January transfer window is not crazy, but it's so difficult to buy players. It's so difficult to buy a calibre of players. Now, one name I didn't expect Chelsea to be linked with in January was Alejandro Garnacho. But we have been.
We're linked with everyone, Liv.
Yes.
Yeah, that's also very true.
It does feel like that. Honestly,
well, you were surprised as me because, I mean, is it Man United are in a position where if someone offers the right amount of money because FFP, they have to sell?
I think we're looking at that situation right here, right now. And you think about financial fair play. Look, we've seen Garnacho look at leave. Rashford, that's a tricky situation. That looks like now there might be a little bit of going back with your tail between your legs and hoping things work out. I'm amazed that the Garnacho scenario has come up. He's had a bit of a tricky time. My understanding is that Ray Amorim wants to play. There's not a position for him, and they're happy to move him on. I think it might well be a loan to see how things go. It doesn't surprise me that Chelsea are interested in Garnacho. If you go back under the reign of Ten Hag, there weren't that many success stories. He was one of them. I like what I see. I think there's still a little bit of
rawness.
Yes, but there are moments where I look at and think, this kid has got so much, and there are moments. I think we all agree that, but it's about what's the ceiling with him, and I don't quite know that ceiling. But we're a side, as we've known, a football club that we know are happy to take misfits or players they don't want. Sancho is the perfect example. We're happy to deal with. You think that player's not good enough for you? We'll take him on,
Felix.
and at the right price. At the right price. I don't know what that price is.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I think the player is raw. I think his decision-making is still in the early stages of his career. He's obviously played quite a bit of football. So sometimes, even if you are young, if you've played a significant amount of football, that is enough of a catalogue for you to see what kind of ceiling you're looking at. I don't think he's an elite-level dribbler, which I think our wingers sometimes have the hardest position in our team because they don't always get that overlap or that support from the fullback because they do tuck in and go into midfield. So sometimes you are isolated. If you're up against a low block, it might be a 2v1 situation. And I don't think he's got that genius about him in his game to put bums on seat in the stadium and be like, you know, a Hazard that we're talking about.
He's a bit of an Anthony Gordon player.
In a way.
For me.
Anthony Gordon's great.
No, but I'm talking about what Matisse is saying about his skill set.
But it's a different system, isn't it, at Newcastle?
He's not a Ryan Giggs. He's not, you know, he's on that left-hand side. But there is industry, and I've seen enough. I wouldn't say no. If he turned up, if we find out tomorrow that Garnacho is on that left-hand, I'm not sure our left-hand side, Liv, is that great.
No, it's
I don't think Garnacho drastically improves that to the level that we're looking. If I'm looking at Chelsea trying to be Premier League winners next season and trying to be Premier League title contenders, I don't think Garnacho is a signing that kicks this Chelsea team to another level.
None of these signings are at the minute.
But they should be, though, shouldn't
they? But they're too young.
We don't need another young player that's
it fits the model. If you're talking about the model that we're buying players, he ticks those boxes, doesn't he? He is.
Yeah, but we've already ticked all of them.
I know, but
we're doing it again.
But the way the ownership is run, is that he does suit that. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's for me. But anyway, let's look ahead because we haven't got much time left. But we've got a very, very big game this weekend, Matisse, and just feels like Manchester City have found form at just the wrong time for us.
Yeah, but do you know what it is with City? Well, listen, obviously every game in the Premier League is tricky. We found that out, you know, the fixtures, you have to play who's in front of you. But the one game was that Brentford game, and they're still vulnerable. There's still chances being created against them. They have gone on a bit of a run, West Ham, you know, Ipswich, etc. But they're still there to be got at. I think it has the makings to be a pretty even contest if we play to the level. If the injuries come back as well, I think we need another midfielder, you know, to put on the table. But it's just to find margins. And we spoke about the finishing, one side of the pitch for us, making sure that we're clinical, and then obviously leaking goals at the other end against Haaland, one of the most deadly strikers in the world. These are the fine margins. We might come out of this game with a good performance, pretty neck and neck. But it's the fine margins in both boxes. Are we going to be as clinical and as ruthless as we have to be? That's what's going to decide the game.
I don't know how good City are because they played Ipswich and we should have done something similar to Ipswich, what they did. That reflects badly on us. The team selection, you look back at our team selection, I think we can say, I'm not so sure that we're looking at the City that we fear, bearing in mind how well they did against Ipswich. Great point against Brentford. 2-0 up, drop points.
Yeah. I feel like we have to get at them. We have to, and I think
we ain't going to change it. The way that we play is not going to change. Yeah. Maresca has shown that. Whoever you play, home and away, he is not going to change his philosophy. I think it'll be a very even game. I'm pretty confident that we can go and get something. It wouldn't. But at the same time, City, it feels like you've rattled the cage. After what happened against Ipswich. No, I think we're still yet to see what this City side genuinely feels and looks like.
In the earlier games against big teams, he was happy, though, to say if we can't win, we don't lose. And I feel like this game in particular, because there's no Lavia, the makeup of that midfield now is going to be slightly different because Lavia was playing all those games. I think that was the period where Enzo was taken out the team. He was kind of put to the Conference League a little bit. And now it's like, what's that midfield going to look like against Man City?
How
are we going to set up?
That's the area.
Yeah.
That's a weakness, but that's a weakness for them as well. That's a weakness for City.
It has been. Kovacic, though, by the way.
What a goal.
Honestly,
he didn't do that for us.
Honestly, he scored 4 goals this season.
I know. It's his best ever scoring season.
He scored 4 goals.
And he's been injured. So.
Yeah, typical. What I would say is this is a great fixture, I think, for Pedro Neto. Space on the counter-attack. It's where he thrives, and we need Nicholas Jackson.
Where'd you play him, left or right, though?
Either.
I don't think... we
was
having a conversation before.
I know.
We've got to go.
Yeah, I don't know.
We could talk Chelsea.
We'll do a second half of the podcast.
All day long. We shall see what happens at the Etihad on Saturday evening. We need Nicholas Jackson to take his chances as well. That is for sure.